Welcome back to the Town's End. This is my first actual video in a long time, but I'm about to prepare dinner and I wanted to try something new for the video using some interesting leftovers as well as a couple of my usual seasonings. It's going to be pork chops, and the last couple times I've done pork chops I have been putting vegetables underneath the grate that you put the chops on when you're baking. You know, cooking both things at once, baking both things, and it comes out nicely. So here are the pork chops, and here is the surprise different ingredient. Yeah, I'm going to post pictures later so it won't be backwards, but it's hot mustard from McDonald's. Some leftover packets from some point when I must have picked up nuggets for someone in this house. But see, the vegetables go under the grate. They've been treated with only a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of salt and black pepper, because the rest of the seasoning will come dripping off the pork chops, which I also will put a little olive oil on, as well as the seasonings that I use. So first things first, the gross part. Yes, kind of disgusting, but necessary. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil on these and spread it around as I put them on the grate. I'm going to spread the hot mustard on once I get them all on here, assuming I can fit all these on here. Now these are center cut pork chops with the bone in, although unlike some cuts, it's the small piece. The bone is not very big. So they are mostly meat, which is you know, at least not ripping yourself off as much. But they do taste different, I think, the cuts that have at least some bone with them. Alright. So that's, see? Now, I'm going to throw away this nasty garbage, and I wish I knew how to edit, but not so great at that yet. So you're going to watch me rinse my hands off and clean them a little before I actually touch the next thing. I don't want raw pork juice all over my seasoning containers. Gross. A little bit slimy, although that's mostly the olive oil all over my hands. Okay, now if I can find it, I did. I knew I bought a little brush. Make it a little easier than what I was going to have to do. Which I grew up watching my mom spread barbecue sauce and stuff on chicken and different things just by literally slapping it and smearing it with her hand. Well, as much as I have done that, I did not prefer that. I'd much rather be able to brush a little more even layers of flavoring onto the meat. Because, yeah, as much as I loved her cooking, it definitely wasn't evenly distributed. Alright, and I will hold this up to the camera once I'm done giving a good coating to these. So, before I put them on, I coated them in olive oil. Now, I'm painting on the hot mustard dipping sauce from McDonald's, which honestly, the reason why we have a lot extra is probably from back when I used to occasionally get nuggets for myself, because my favorite dip sauce, even with my stomach issues I had back in the day, was the hot mustard. I don't know, I didn't really like the overly sweet sauces. And mustard by itself wasn't a real fan for dipping, but for some reason mustard with the extra kick, that is what I liked. That was my jam. And now we're going to see if it works for pork chops. And it wasn't just an arbitrary decision to try this out. I did actually ask Jack what he thought of the idea, and he's not 100% against it. He said it sounded interesting. So a willing guinea pig, if you want to call it that. And yes, I spilled a huge blob of hot mustard on the stove that I had just cleaned to make this video. Awesome. Okay, so that's the I guess I don't need more than 2 of these for like the good coating on that side. But what I will do is I said I was going to add a couple of my normal seasonings as well. So normal, you know, in quotes, normal, which include a little bit of this. So our hot mustard might be a little extra hot. Just a dusting of ghost pepper powder. A little bit of salt. And this Traeger's pork and poultry rub, except I'm not rubbing it. I'm just gonna put a little bit, yeah, a little dusting on them. Okay. Now, these aren't frozen, but being that they are good sized pork chops, I'm not going to do them at the lower temp that I usually do chicken and things at. Oh yeah, I want to put a little bit of this. Just a little bit of black pepper too. Alright, so we got to preheat the oven. So, to 400. Alright, and when it beeps and I put it in, it'll be going in for 30 minutes. Since it's not frozen, it doesn't need longer than that. Alright, gonna wash off my paintbrush, or meat brush. Yeah. Alright, so I will post a little slideshow of the finished product when this is all done. I appreciate you all for coming to watch what is probably the first full video since my surgery on May 2nd and my subsequent recovery, which is going well. Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with other people who like different cooking ideas. Now, I'm not on specifically a keto diet. I just generally, since my surgery, have decided to continue to eat less carbs because besides, you know, being type 2 diabetic, it's a lot easier to manage my weight and my blood sugar in general if I just don't consume unnecessary large amounts of empty carbs or, you know, not very useful carbs like random bread. Don't really need it. And yeah, I've been able to maintain my weight loss and lose a little bit more just by going back gradually to my regular exercise program and not eating breads. I do use some like near zero carb wraps for like lunch and stuff. Occasionally use them to make like little egg tacos for breakfast that again have like 3 carbs, net carbs max. But other than that, I eat a high protein diet most of the time with some vegetables. And when it comes to fruits, I eat a handful now and then of berries, like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, those types of things. And nuts. The combination of good ones that have the most amount of good fats for your body and your nervous system and the least amount of harmful ones. So, if you're careful and you look, they're already out there, mixes that are made up of the right nuts. So, that aren't full of things like frickin' M&Ms and granola crap that is also a bunch of empty carbs. So, yeah. Thank you for coming. And, yeah, stay tuned for the after pictures. Thank you, and I'll see you next time on the Town's End.